Okay. Hello and welcome to Synchronicity, talk radio for your mind, body, and soul. I'm your host, Marie Bernard, and we are doing a special Synchronicity segment today with the lovely Zen Cryar DeBrucke. She is the author of dropping things. She's the author of Your Inner GPS. Follow your internal guidance to optimal health, happiness, and satisfaction. And she was on the show a couple of months ago, and we've been talking about the inner GPS and following our inner guidance system. So Zen is here today to do a little sample coaching session with me. So hopefully we can figure out some of my issues, and then the benefit for you is that you get to see what a coaching session with Zen might look like, because this is just sort of an example. And then, of course, you can always go to her website, which is zeninAmoment.com. All right. Well, Zen, you are the coach, so I'll let you take it away.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So just for yourself and your listeners, you don't need to come to this prepared to do much of anything other than just be honest about your experience. I'm going to walk Marie through using her internal guidance system in order to solve some issues and get clarity. So the first thing you need to know about doing a coaching session with me, Marie, is that all you have to do is feel your feet for me. Have you done much of the listening practice?
I haven't been practicing as regularly as I'd like to, but I have done it.
Okay,
yes.
So whenever you go to feel your internal guidance system, what's important is that you feel your feet, your hands, listen to the room around you. The reason why is this helps you drop into your body. Your senses are the most powerful way to access your body. Taste, touch, sight, sound, smell. So whichever is most powerful for you is fine. So just feeling your body is very helpful. And you're welcome to close your eyes, open your eyes, but closing your eyes can be helpful in the beginning too. And then you and I are just going to talk here for a minute. So tell me a little bit about what the first issue you want to work with today.
Well, I've been thinking about possibly moving to a smaller town. I've applied for a couple of radio jobs in smaller towns, and I'm just wondering if that is the right direction, because you know how it is these days. We have so many directions that we could go in, and it's hard to pick.
So what made you decide to go to a small town?
There's a number of things going on. The real estate market here in Vancouver, I'm just kind of feeling, I'm very blessed to have an affordable place to live, but the person who bought the house a couple years ago is very challenging to deal with. And the way that the rental market is, I'm not in a position to move because people are literally fighting and bidding. They're in bidding wars to get apartments. So it's in the past, when I graduated broadcasting school, I felt like I couldn't move to a smaller town and start off in broadcasting because I needed the opportunities in Vancouver to make extra money. But those opportunities are getting smaller.
Yeah.
And it just sort of feels like there's not a lot of room, as beautiful as Vancouver is, and I would be sad to leave. It's just a little bit, it feels like I'm kind of in this box and there's not a lot of movement.
So one thing that I want to just share is right off the bat, are you noticing any sensation in your throat to your solar plex area? Any anxiety or closing sensation?
Yeah, a little bit. As I'm talking about the lack of opportunities, it feels a little bit tight. That's sort of...
That means what you're thinking. Yep, that means what you're thinking is not true. There are not a lot of opportunities in Vancouver. And so what I do know is that you create your own reality. You manifest and you create your own dreams. And so even though your mind is trying to be as logical as it can about the situation, your desires are what's most important. So if you truly desire to go to a new, smaller town, which there's a lot of reasons to live in a small town. I did. I actually got into radio, as a matter of fact, in a small town, Central Point, Oregon, here in the United States. I got a really prime radio opportunity because you just don't have a lot of people interested in radio, or like you do in Vancouver, or a large town like San Francisco or Portland. But so my point is that if you're leaving because you feel like you can't afford to live there and the opportunities are shallow, you want to check your IGS, and it's already happening. As you're talking, it was giving you a closed sensation in your chest, meaning what you're thinking is not true or not in alignment for you in your path. So there's the first step. Now the second step is, what would have to happen for you to stay in Vancouver? And was that something that you would actually like to do?
I'm open. When I think about moving to a small town, there's some fear coming up because, of course, I would have to give up all the people that I know as far as the people I'd see every day. But it does seem exciting. It would be an opportunity to grow and face fears and take on new challenges. So, I mean, I don't need to stay in Vancouver. My desire to be here, to me, feels kind of neutral right now. I'm just open. I'm looking for the next adventure.
Yeah, adventure. Yeah. Okay, sounds good. So let's talk about the town you're thinking about moving to.
I'm looking at the area where I would like to live is the Kootenays. Okay. But there are lots of little towns and potential opportunities in that region of the province.
Okay, so as you're talking about that region of the province and that would be an area you would like to live in, how is your IGS responding right now? More open?
Well, I still feel a little bit
of the tightening.
Tight. I'm not sure if I'm super clear or practiced enough to know the difference between.
You're close. Believe me, if you're tight at all, you're closed.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really simple. If you feel a constriction in any way, shape, or form, you're closed. That means what you're thinking is out of alignment for you. So I want to go ahead and have you feel your feet and your hands, and we're going to do a little bit more of a guided coaching process. You listen to the room around you. Really stay focused on your body. So, and I just want you to picture yourself packing up and moving yourself. You're in a car or truck, heading out of Vancouver, and you're moving. You don't know where, but it's the right place for you. And what's the first sensation that you feel between your throat and your solar plex area?
Well, it feels still a bit tight, but it feels like excitement. Okay. So that's why I'm confused.
Yeah, so hold on. That's okay. Don't worry about the excitement. So close your eyes again. Okay, and just feel your feet and your hands. Try not to allow your mind to get confused. Okay. Just feel your feet and your hands. All right. I want you to picture finding an amazing place to live that you adore, and you get this incredible broadcasting opportunity that you would have never even imagined you could get so early in your career. And there's just this person that's a mentor, and they take you under their wing and are very excited about your career and helping shepherd it. First sensation between your throat and your upper solar plex area.
That feels more like opening.
Okay, so we want, yeah, that's the difference. So I want to give you a contrast. Now, you can't open at something that's not true for you. You can't open at something that is a falsehood. That would close you. If you were intended to move out of Vancouver, there wasn't an apartment for you that was the perfect spot for you, and there wasn't someone that was really interested in your career in the Vancouver area, it would still close you. That's the interesting thing. But I'm getting a feeling that there are logical, really good reasons for you to just try to move into an area where it might be easier and more affordable, but I'm not getting from me. I can feel your internal guidance system. That's why I'm good at doing this coaching. Most people can, once you're attuned to it, can feel people's internal guidance system. I'm feeling this closing sensation when you're talking about leaving. Even the excitement, you have an excitement to something new. You are ready. It does open you, and you're excited about the next adventure in your life, for sure. However, I want to caution that next adventure doesn't have to mean moving out of the city that you're in. And when you think about leaving the people that you are in your life on a regular basis, and you said, I have fear about not seeing the people that I have a relationship with here in Vancouver and that I've built with, fear is closing. So the thought of not seeing them closes you. That means you're supposed to still be in connection with them and still be in network with them and still be around them. So there's a lot of things that are already pointing to you staying in Vancouver. Now, if you believe that you can't afford it, that the opportunities are too difficult, then that's what you're going to manifest, and that's what's really important for you to know, is part of what's important about your internal guidance system guiding you, is opening up you to bigger possibilities that you would not think are possible, that your mind would not think are possible. I found an amazing place to live at the height of the market in San Francisco. I could not believe my luck. And my roommate that I rented with actually moved out, and the landlord loved us so much he didn't even raise my rate, and he could have doubled it at that time of the market. There's lots of things that are available, and it's just a matter of you holding space for getting down to what you truly desire, what you would truly want to have happen. Is that helpful?
Yes, and then as you were talking about the possibility of staying in Vancouver, though, I did feel that tightening.
So what were your thoughts? It's not it's not me speaking, it's your thoughts about what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So think about, what were your thoughts?
I think my thoughts were, but that's what I want that new adventure. And then, so the tightening was that it's not the right thing?
Yes, but that's what I want. Your IGS is letting you know that that's not what you want.
So, but I feel like that's what I want. I want to change. I want to move. I want a new, okay, well, we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm just letting you know, your mind does not know what you want. You may think that you know what you want or what's best for you, but oftentimes, and I know this sounds crazy, and I know people do it all the time in dating, for instance. They'll date the wrong person. I mean, I'm sure you got a couple girlfriends who bring home the new guy for you to meet, and you go, this is just like the last guy who was a complete jerk. Why are you dating the same guy again in a different body, or something along those lines? So you may have been raised to see that changing locations creates better success, or a fresh start is needed in certain situations. And it may be that your mind is trying to have you, and I'm not saying you're running away, but have you move for reasons that are not necessarily in alignment with what's best for you or what's going to truly make you happy. But there's a place in your mind where it's like getting a fresh start and starting all over would be easier, or would be more beneficial to me right now than to manage all the challenges that I'm feeling in my finances, or in finding a good place to live, or there's all kinds of ways in which your mind may be trying to convince you that that this is what you want. You're transitioning into divine guidance, a bigger, broader you that has more knowledge and information about who you are and what's really going to make you happy and what's on your path, your divine purpose and your divine blueprint, your optimal life trajectory, all of that. And if your mind knew how to do that, you wouldn't need an IGS, but it doesn't know how to get you there. And like I said, you opened at getting a job that was way beyond what you ever thought you could in broadcasting, way earlier than you thought you could get it. You opened at the thought of finding a beautiful place easily that you loved in Vancouver. You opened at that there was somebody wanting to mentor your career. Those are things that are...
But when you were saying that, I wasn't picturing Vancouver. I was actually picturing that other, when you said mentoring and the great job and the great place, I was picturing it somewhere outside of Vancouver.
Oh, well, that's great. See, that's the information that I need from you, because it's all about what you're thinking. So if you're thinking about it being someplace outside of Vancouver and it opens you, because I was actually specifically saying in Vancouver when we were doing that. So if you were changing that thought and not holding that thought, you were holding some other city or place outside of Vancouver, that's really important for me to know, because then you weren't following the instructions and I can't give you really good advice on your idea.
Sorry, I didn't understand, because I was picturing when you were it went from the car moving, and then in my mind we were still picturing where that might be. I didn't realize it was Vancouver.
Yeah, we had switched from you picturing leaving, and you were closed at the thought of leaving and moving out of Vancouver. So we pictured staying in Vancouver is what I had asked to see what your response from your IGS was. So now we have a very interesting situation. I need you to really be clear with me about what you're thinking, because that's what your IGS is responding to. You've closed at leaving, or you've closed at staying in Vancouver, and you've closed at leaving Vancouver. So we're going to have to start from the very beginning, and I need you to be very clear with me in communicating what your mind is actually thinking. Otherwise, it can't be a good coach for you. Okay? All right, so feel your feet in your hands. And why don't you just hold a vision for your future and you speak it out loud and pay attention to your internal guidance system. Go ahead and speak what you're thinking out loud. And just as you're speaking, pay attention to your internal guidance system. And that way I won't be unclear about your thoughts.
Okay. Well, I think that's one of the challenges is I don't have a vision for I want to be open and I don't have a clear direction. When I envision, so I'm right now I'm kind of picturing that I'm somewhere where I'm feeling really connected to the community and where I have a place to live that feels good and easy and that feels good, but I'm not clear on exactly where that is.
Right, but you know that it's not in Vancouver because you've actually been arguing for leaving Vancouver in the entire call. Open your eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, so for the entire call, even when I've tried to get you clear about whether it was right for you to stay in Vancouver or whether it was right for you to leave, you keep going back to, I'm leaving Vancouver. I don't want to be here anymore. So it does sound to me like you have a vision, and that vision is leaving Vancouver. Even if your IGS were to close, you've decided that you want to go. So yeah. I find that that's a very interesting place. I would caution you as your coach to go very slowly, because anytime I've seen people follow their internal guidance system, go against their internal guidance system and not follow it, I should say, what has often happened is they look at that as being a big mistake and something that they should have never done. But their mind overrode it for reasons of safety, or there were things going on that they wanted to escape from, or they didn't want to deal with, or it felt like the easy way out. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but I'm just saying from my past experience, whenever someone's argued for a closing, so just be really clear when you do decide to move out of Vancouver, because if you've pretty much said you don't want to stay here in Vancouver, you want the new adventure, you want to leave Vancouver. And even when your IGS, so I just want you to just notice that there and really look at the underlying reasons that you want to go so quickly or so badly.
Well, I'm not set on leaving Vancouver. I'm just wanting to open up to possibilities. And if I do happen to find something amazing that makes me want to stay in Vancouver, I would be more than happy to stay. I'm just, the latest focus that I have is because I put the time and energy into applying for this job, and I've been researching, and there's an apartment that I want that who knows if that would even be available by the time I get there. But I have all this vision.
Yeah, I understand. You've invested all this time.
Yeah, but I'm not hell bent on going one place or another. Other than I would like to stay in the province right now, if at all possible, just because that feels...
Okay, so the way that it really works in real life is you have to have a desire of what you want to have happen. So just opening to possibility doesn't actually provide any guidance to the universe to support you in co-creating your future. So staying open to possibility is one thing about how something's going to happen, but it's really important for you to get clear. And you already had some really good openings around finding a great place to live that you love, okay? Around a work opportunity that was beyond what you've already, have, that you want something that's going to be in the next step in your career that you can really, dig into and do. And you've also, community was a big thing that you talked about. You really want to have an amazing community. So I would stop looking at where and really just stay with those three key aspects of what you want to create in your life, and stay honed in on the desire that those three things, and also probably maybe not the apartment that you were looking at, but the same, whatever the qualities of that apartment were for your living space, stay focused on that as well. But we get ourselves into a place like, I can understand now where you've applied for a job, you've done the research on the town, you've found an apartment that you like, you've already started envisioning this trajectory. But let's take the place out of it. I'm not saying you're going to stay in Vancouver, and I'm not saying you're not going to, but it seems to me that the place, that opening yourself to opportunity, it's not really necessary. What's necessary is for you to stay really clear in your vibration of what you want the place, wherever it is that you're landing, to feel like when you arrive, and what your trajectory being there is going to be, your success path while you're there, what it's going to be. Meaning, great place to live, amazing new job opportunities, community that you love and feel nourished by, and a home that's a sanctuary. Just stay focused on that, and then let's see what the universe brings to you, what God brings to you in your life from just that. But let's drop the location piece, because I'm not sure that's serving you. That's where you need to be open to possibility. If I were going to be open anywhere and recommend that you are, it's in the location, because who knows where you're going to end up.
Yeah, that felt very opening when you're talking about the qualities of the place and the community and all of that.
Yeah. And that is enough of a direction for you to get where you want to be. Yeah. But just for anyone in general, staying just like, I'm going to be open to possibility, generally doesn't lead to much happening. People have a tendency to just kind of spin their wheels with that. Not that that's a bad attitude, but people really need to be incredibly focused on what they desire to have happen. I mean, before I do anything, I'm getting ready to go do a series of videos. I wrote an intention of what I wanted to have happen, what my intention in doing the video is, and what the desired outcome will be before I even start the video, because if you don't do that, then the direction is directionless, and things just have a tendency to just kind of fall away into the ether unless they have a really good magnetizing intention behind them. Mm-hmm. So, is that helpful?
That was really helpful. Thank you. Yes.
Awesome. So you said you had a couple of issues. Is there a second one you want to work with today?
Well, I was just kind of thinking today, I've been doing this feminine power course, and we're almost at the end, and we're talking about one of the end points was the places in our lives that we feel disempowered. That's where we have an opportunity to be leaders, to step up and make positive change. And so the thought that I was having today was along the lines of wanting everyone to have what they need, wanting animals to have rights. I mean, I eat meat, so I'm not saying that, but the factory farming and all of that. And I was just kind of thinking about, where would I even start? Because I already have so much on my plate. So the idea, now as I'm saying it, the idea of taking on more feels really closing. And at the same time, I do want to serve. Yeah, I want more. I want positive change in the world, and I want to be part of that.
Okay. So if you're closing at the thought of taking on more, let's look specifically at what are the thoughts that you're closing around. So is it, I can't take on more, I don't have any room to, or is it taking on more? What is it? So what's because it's only in relationship to what you're thinking and how you're thinking about something.
I think it's more along the lines of, I don't know what that would look like. And my perception is that it would be a lot of work. I'm looking at like, oh, do I get bills changed and in politics and all of that? It feels very big.
So how are you open right now at the thought of changing bills?
No.
Exactly. So that means that's not your path. That's not how you'll participate. So let's look at, what if you could easily participate in a way that is so natural for you that it's nothing for you to do? It's just super easy. I want you to hold that thought, and it would be maximum impact. How does that open you more? Just really easy, something natural for you to do.
I feel a little flutter of kind of tension and fear.
What's your thought? Tell me the thought that you're having as I say. What if you could produce something that's so easy for you to produce, it would be nothing, it would take hardly any time. What's the thought that you're having about that?
I'm not totally clear on the thought. It feels like it's like, I don't know. I don't know how I would be able to do that.
Okay. So that's what's closing you, is that you don't know how. So what if it was something as simple as doing a 20-minute interview once a week with key players and getting their message out? And that goes out to their list, and anywhere that they send it, they do the marketing of it. You just know that it's really easy for you to do a great interview and pull out the great information, and it's hardly anything for you to do. And that made maximum impact for the leaders in your area. Just saying. Something like that. Does that open you to produce with your gifts?
I'm still not sure. I like the idea in my mind, and then my heart is still.
But what are you thinking? That's what I'm trying to say is when I'm talking, your thoughts are giving you openings and closings. So it's really, I need you to kind of share with me what you're thinking about what I'm saying. That's how I can understand what your IGS is reacting to.
I think the thought is more like, yes, but what would that look like? I think it's still part of the, how would I get those people? How would I do it? I don't know how. Which is an ongoing pattern in my life, is I don't know how. I don't know if I can.
Right. So that's closing you.
Yeah.
That means those thoughts are not true and not in alignment with your path. They're not true. So it's not so much as, once again, we're back to the same place of desire. If you have a desire to make change and you want it to be effortless, and you want it to be, so you go back to the desire, I want it to be effortless. I want it to be something that's so easy for me to do that it makes maximum impact, but it's hardly anything, and I get to contribute. And you put that desire out there and you allow the universe to bring you the opportunity. If you can stay in that, I don't know how, it's too much, I really want to, but, here's all the reasons I can't, you won't go anywhere. And that will be a pattern in your life. So my coaching for you is really always start off with what you desire and how you want it to be. You can have whatever you want. I've lived my life this way now for 45 years, and it works. When you start off with how you would like it to be, with how would you desire it to be. So I want to be a part of this movement, and I want it to be super easy for me to participate. I want it to be not overwhelming. In fact, I want it to be invigorating. I want to have more energy in my life because I get to participate in this. I want to have the right people that need my gifts, that are effortless for me to give, show up in my life and collaborate with me. And then you just leave it there. If that's opening for you, you leave it in that beautiful juicy space of ask and it shall be given, right? You leave it in that juicy space and you see what gets created. And when your mind dives in with the closing thoughts of, I don't know how, I don't know what that's going to look like, I don't know how to produce that, what I have to give right now is nothing, I have no extra time. If that's all closing you, you say, hey, don't get in the way of my desire of what I'm creating in my life. My IGS says that's all not true. What is true is that there is an effortless way for me to participate with an extraordinary group of people who naturally need what I have, and it invigorates me to be a part of what they're doing. And I have maximum impact by doing what I already love and is easy for me. That's opening. So that's the way it's supposed to be. Divine purchase order from God approved. You know? And that's the way it's supposed to be. And so let's just have you take on a practice for a little while. Let's say a week. Where when the feelings come up of I don't know, I don't have the opportunity, or what am I supposed to do? Stop, drop into your listening, and really think about how you'd like it to be. Like, what would be the best, most awesome thing of options to come your way? And just stay with generating desire in this time of not knowing. Because right now is the time. You are not fixed in any place. You're kind of in the void, right? Totally anything's possible. That's what I'm hearing. So if anything's possible, direct that energy of possibility towards, it has to feel like this and be like this. I don't have to know how, but I have to be totally in a lush, sacred environment with people who I love, being a part of my community, with a job that inspires me, and I'm getting to do some extraordinary extracurricular activities on all kinds of different levels, and that makes an impact on the world. Stay with your desires for a while. There's nothing more powerful right now in your life.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Zen.
You're welcome.
So that's, I think, I really love the clarity on that, because I was feeling like I do want to be open. I don't want to set the circumstances, like I have to be living in this house, in this town, dating this person. But at the same time, I don't want to just be going wherever the wind blows.
Right. I do understand. Yes. So all you have to do is put the desire out there. Just put the desire out of how you want it to feel. I write it out. I cut pictures and I put them on a vision board or in a scrapbook. I'm very directive about how I want my world to show up. but I don't have to know how, and I don't have to have any part of making it happen. And I have accomplished extraordinary things in my life. Right now we're working on China. Next April, I'm going to Japan, and we're opening up this body of work in Japan. So I'm very directive that I want it to be a global movement that I'm creating, and other people are carrying it forward. It's not coming out of my lifeblood and my cellular level, like, I'm making it happen. No, it's like, I want to be able to show up to a room full of amazing people that they've collected, and then they're able to have prosperity, deep levels of prosperity, as well as I am. And it's just a pleasure for everyone involved. So there's my directive. Be moving in your directive right now. And that's feminine. So if you want to talk about feminine power, that is feminine power. Is coming from that imaginative juicy source, putting it out there as a desire and allowing it to show up.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I used to always be, I've tried this visioning of the future, and it's like, okay, I want to make this much money, and I want to have this kind of house, and it's more, like you said, about the qualities of it's not the number in my bank account, it's the freedom, it's the sense of flow, and the way I feel in my home, not how big it is or where exactly it's located.
Exactly. You're going to get what you really, really want that way, versus getting an albatross around your neck. If I want a 4,000 square foot home, and it's like, I don't use half of this. I don't even use a quarter of this space. Why do I have such a big home? It's super expensive. It's hard. It's stressful for me. I've heard this from many, many people. You can manifest anything, but manifesting your heart's desire is really starting with the heart desire. Like, I want to be able to entertain. I want people to walk in and feel totally cozy and yummy. I want this to be a place that I can't wait to get home to, that's easy to care for. I mean, those kinds of things. I want my beloved to feel immediately, whoever he is, I want him to feel immediately upon entering my home, like, oh my gosh, I could live here. I love this place. It's perfect for me too. That kind of thing. It works.
Beautiful. Well, I know that you have this video series that you're working on that you need to get started on. But we have been speaking with Zen Cryar DeBrucke. She is the author of Your Inner GPS. Follow your internal guidance to optimal health, happiness, and satisfaction. And of course, you can go to her website, zeninamoment.com, and get more coaching with her. There's lots of free videos on more information about how to follow your inner GPS, how to feel it in your body. And before we close, I'm just wondering if there's anything that you want to share with us before we say goodbye.
No, I just want to say thank you for inviting me in to do this coaching session with you. I really loved it. And it's an unusual experience. I don't usually do it via like a video chat kind of thing. So it was interesting to be able to get to experience that. Most of my coaching is done on the phone. So that was a really fun, and it's been interesting. It'll be interesting to see the video and see how it turns out. But I really love that you have invited me into a new experience that I haven't had before, and trusting me with your issues and with your big decisions that you're making. So I just love you, Marie, and I am excited about finding out what happens for you as you move into these amazing places of possibility.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I just want to thank you for helping me clarify the difference between what you were saying and what I was thinking about what you were saying, because I think that's where we get confused. And you mentioned this in your book as well, about how we'll have a feeling about a person and we'll think it's about the person, but we forget that it's really about the thoughts that we have.
Exactly.
It's a subtle difference, but it makes a big,
an important difference. Yes. Perfect. Thank you for clarifying that. I love it.
Thank you. All right. Zeninamoment.com if you want to get in touch with Zen. And she has her Million Reads project going on Facebook, as well as you can find more information at zeninamoment.com. That's the best place to find her. And I look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Thank you.
Lots of love. Yay.
Bye.